Okay, I'm going to call to order the council meeting of the City of Coos Bay, and it is now 6 o'clock. And our first item on the agenda is the flag salute, and would you all join me in that? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And I do want to point out at this time, Mayor Joe Benetti is online, and Councilor Matthews, Councilor Niebergall, and Councilor, who am I missing? Councilor DeNovo are not at the meeting tonight, but we do have a quorum, so we will proceed with the agenda as prepared. And our first item is public comment. Do we have anybody that would wish to make a public comment for items that are not on the agenda or the public hearing?
Anybody else? Just me?
Go ahead and come to the podium and state your name and where you reside. I do have to read a statement. Citizens wishing to address the City Council during the time set for public comments are requested to sign the roster as provided by the City Recorder. Please print your name, address, and subject of the public concern. The public comment period is intended for the public to share ideas and concerns and is not intended for an interactive discussion with the Council. There may be opportunities for public comments during specific agenda items that require a public hearing. Members of the public are requested to confine their remarks to questions or issues under discussion during this time. During any designated comment period, individuals shall not engage in personal attacks, shall not impugn the motives of the speaker, and shall at all times, while in session, conduct themselves in an appropriate manner. No person shall make personal, impertinent, slanderous, or unauthorized remarks or become boisterous while addressing the Council. And if you could just give us your name.
Great,
where you reside.
Good evening, Mayor, online, and members of the City Council. My name is Patrick Momsen. I live in Empire at 468 South Empire Boulevard, and I'm here tonight representing the concerned citizens of Empire. As we all know, the Pacific Coast Intermodal Port is more than just a line item or a distant industrial plan. It's a project that will fundamentally reshape the landscape, the economy, and the daily lives of the people who live in the Empire District. We recognize the scale of this project, and because of that scale, our neighborhood is feeling a mix of anticipation and significant concern. We believe that for a project of this magnitude to succeed, we must have the trust of the community that it borders. Right now, there are many unanswered questions about rail traffic, environmental impacts, and the long-term character effects on our historic neighborhood. To address this, we're hosting a community-led meeting on Wednesday, March 25th at 6 p.m. at the Dolphin Playhouse. This isn't just a presentation. It's an opportunity for constructive, transparent dialogue. We want to ensure that the voices of those who live nearest to the proposed development are heard, understood, and respected. I'm here tonight to formally invite each one of you to join us. As our elected representatives, your presence would signal to the residents of Empire that their concerns are being taken seriously at City Hall. We aren't asking for immediate answers or policy decisions on that night. We're asking for your presence and your ears. We want you to see the faces of the people who will be living with the results of the PCIP and to hear their perspectives firsthand in a setting that's rooted in the heart of our community. Again, that's at March 25th at 6 p.m. at the Dolphin Playhouse. We have also extended invitations to the Port Commissioners, to our state legislators, and to the Governor's office, because we believe a project of this size requires everyone at the table. Thank you for your time tonight, and we truly look forward to seeing you in Empire on the 25th. I've printed copies of the agenda and printed copies of the invitations to leave with you. If you have any questions, please get in contact with me. Thank you.
Thank you. And let's see, we have 3 people that have signed up for to discuss the moratorium. So we'll move to Mike.
Yeah, me. Yeah. I was supposed to. getting old, we don't know who's first.
What's that, Mike? Are you talking about the moratorium, or
Nope.
are you, nope?
Nope,
Okay.
nope, just stuff in general. Just want to make sure I'm staying on the map, so you know I'm around. As you know, I sometimes think to myself, I don't want to get involved with what goes on around here. Just let it all happen. But then I wake up and just get back into it. But just a couple of little things. Well, we've managed to get the speed down on 101, which has been one of my dreams. And I'm driving along it now. It's so much better. I mean, a lot of people say they just can't believe how much better it is. People still speed, and people are still going to be idiots. And, people still say most stupid things are why it should be 80 miles an hour, but, that's too bad. But anyway, thanks for everybody, all the effort we did. Nicole and our guys did a great effort on getting that speed reduced. Hopefully next we can start working on other areas like Ocean Boulevard, and Cape Arago Highway needs a good looking at. And while I was on Cape Arago Highway, I noticed that we're doing some paving work off Webster up in the borderline, and we're just paving a piece of street. And I thought to myself, why? So anyway, I see these things. I know I'm not going to get an answer on it. I just wonder, why are we paving just a section of street in the backwoods right on the borderline of property? Yeah, it's in the mail. They did it. I put a couple of maps on that. And another thing, too, the weather's been good, so I took my bike out, risked life and limb, and I thought, well, I'm going to go down to Empire Lakes. So I go down Ackerman, and I get to the end of Ackerman. There's this gate. It's been there for a long time. Lower Lakes is locked up. It's been that way for a year and a bit or something. No signs, no nothing, because I'm on my bike, that's okay. But I still couldn't get through on my bike. The ground is sort of knocked down and stuff like that. So I lifted my bike over the grass and stuff because it said, it didn't say I couldn't go in there. So it was just hard access. I think that should be addressed, And so that was just one of those little things. Like I say, these things you just get to, you get around and you start, it's a new year, so what else are you going to get working on? And of course now we're going to really start trying to put our effort into getting the railroad track taken care of, make something that's good for the community. And a lot of people are starting to get excited about a rail for trail there, which I think is a possibility. We know the rail's probably not going to be used again, but a rail to trail going all the way from North Bend to Coquille will just put us on the map. We won't need containers to get rich. The tourists will get us rich on this one. So anyway, that's my 10 cents worth.
And Dean, if you could give us your name and where you reside. And I did neglect to say that you have 3 minutes max. It is timed, and they'll notify you at 1 minute.
Thank you. Dean Lundy of Empire. I wanted to repeat what Mike said. Thank you, guys, for helping with the 101 corridor, and also like Mike said, this is a great opportunity to convert the railroad track of the south end from North Bend up to Coquille to a bike path. The railroad's not going to use it. But before I go into that, I want to give you a shout out from Coco Sutton. I talked to her and I assured her, I said, we're not dropping the ball on the community cabin, and we do more than talk. If you will show up and swing a hammer and stuff like that. I would like to give you guys, this is a sample of how to approach the Coos Bay Rail, the Surface Transportation Board, which is how you have to abandon a railroad line to make it into a rail trail, which I think, I'm just learning about this stuff and stuff. But I wanted to address especially Commissioner Carmen. I don't know if he's here, but this is a great map that you guys made that would connect with the North Bend, connect the boardwalk thing. But instead of asking the Surface Transportation Board to expedite this, helping the city streets down along Front Street, getting the railroad tracks. I would like to see it all the way down to the tribal resort, because if we could use that rail past the chip plant and stuff, it would be beautiful. And we're all sitting down here. ODOT is for it, which is, we should get them to pay for it. But, they want us off the road anyway, and it would be so tranquilo to ride from North Bend all the way to Coquille along this fabulous river. Anyway, thank you all very much.
All right, do we have anyone else that wishes to speak?
Want to speak on the moratorium?
Okay, you recognize that will not be part of the record under the public hearing, or it will be part of the record tonight, but it won't be under the public hearing.
Yeah, correct. We would, if you want to speak to that topic, it's on the agenda, and we will have a public hearing then, so it would be a part of the public record. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah, sorry about that. I should have done that earlier. All right, anyone else? Oh, okay. Okay. All right, thank you. All right. Since we have no further public comments, and I don't see anyone online, then we will move on to our action items. And our first item under our action items is the consideration to approve a proclamation acknowledging February as Black History Month. You want to give us a little background?
Yeah, I can start us out. So February has long been recognized as Black History Month. This gives us an opportunity to acknowledge and pay tribute to the contributions African Americans have made to American history during their struggles for freedom and equality. It also deepens our understanding of our shared history, as well as an opportunity to remember important and influential people and events in the history of African Americans. We have, as a city, acknowledged February as Black History Month, and we are presenting a proclamation for us to continue to do so for the month of February 2026.
All right. Any questions on that? And Councillor Cribbins, would you like to read the proclamation for us? Okay.
Good evening. I'm going to read the proclamation here. Whereas the city of Coos Bay joins the nation in observing February as Black History Month, honoring the 2026 theme, A Century of Black History Commemorations, and whereas the 2026 theme commemorates the 100th anniversary of the celebration initiated in 1926 by Dr. Carter G. Woodson and designated by the Association for the Study of African American Life and History, highlighting a century of studying, honoring, and preserving the contributions of people of African descent. And whereas throughout history, African Americans have significantly contributed to our nation's development through their labor, leadership, and service in agriculture, industry, the military, government, education, and beyond. And whereas the achievements of African Americans have been instrumental in shaping the economic, cultural, and social landscape of the United States and advancing efforts towards justice, equity, and opportunity. And whereas Black History Month provides an opportunity to reflect on the resilience and perseverance of African American communities and to recognize their enduring impact on our shared history. And whereas acknowledging and understanding this history is essential to fostering racial equity, inclusion, and respect for human dignity in our community.
Now, therefore, I, Joe Benetti, Mayor of the City of Coos Bay, do hereby proclaim Black History Month and encourage all residents to recognize and honor the significant contributions of African Americans to our nation's history and to celebrate the diversity and strengths of our city.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I would entertain a motion.
I move to approve the proclamation designating February 2026 as Black History Month.
And I will second that. We have a motion and a second to approve the proclamation designating February 2026 as Black History Month. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Our next item is consideration of a Type 4 land use application number 187-25-000115-PLNG, self-storage unit moratorium, which would require an enactment of an ordinance. And Chelsea, would you like to give us some background on that?
Yes, so first I'm going to apologize for my voice. Sorry, I'll try to get it out. I will do just a brief kind of summary if Christine will give me access to the PowerPoint.
Can we help her with this, where maybe she just has to answer questions or something?
Yeah, I'll rely on Nicole to help when my voice fails. I'll be short and sweet.
I just felt bad for you.
I'm sorry, I feel
Sounds
bad.
painful.
It's inevitable. Okay. Here we go. Okay. So we're talking about the self-storage unit facility moratorium and how we might make changes to the code to regulate those types of developments differently. Just really briefly, this type of action requires certain public notice. All of that notice has been provided to the Department of Land, Conservation and Development. It's been posted at City Hall, the city website, in the city newsletter. Special notice, what we call ballot 56, or ballot measure 56 notice, went out to all affected property owners. And then we reached out to outside agencies, noticed the public, and published in the World newspaper. So the initial proposal was to add a new definition for mini storage and to expressly prohibit that type of development citywide in line with the moratorium. This is a map that shows Coos Bay, the different zoning districts, and the little yellow dots, probably doesn't show up very well, would be where we have existing permitted facilities today. So there's quite a few on Ocean Boulevard, and then some in Inglewood and South Coos Bay, and then a few other spread in other places. So brief background, back in August is when council first initiated the moratorium. Planning Commission conducted the initial public hearing in October. Council then, back in November, adopted our economic opportunities analysis that showed a deficit of needed commercial industrial lands. So that kind of ties together with the moratorium. Planning Commission's public hearing, they chose to continue the matter to January, asking staff to bring back alternative ways of regulating storage units, developments. And really, in this case, staff lends data that speaks to what's a reasonable amount of these facilities for one city and what are reasonable ways to regulate development when you're thinking about how you protect your needed lands and maintain balanced development patterns. So representatives of the industry, they speak to a high demand for that type of development, a lot of need. I'm sure you will hear more about that tonight. But general public comment has been mixed, both for and against. So some of the alternative pathways, not unlike what council might have considered when considering how to regulate vacation rentals or marijuana business and things like that. Some of the options would be restrict the development from certain zone districts or prohibit it outright in certain areas of town. You could require this type of development get a conditional use permit. It's an additional layer of regulation that would be put on the type of development. You can set a cap on the number of facilities in the city We currently have 15 permitted facilities, and based on the best available data, the average benchmark for a community of our size would be to have 4 to 7. So we're about double. You can also establish a buffer, one facility to the next. A reasonable distance would be 300 to 500 feet, more or less as desired. What's going on? So Planning Commission, when they finish their public hearing, they ultimately recommend that council make no changes to existing regulations other than to restrict new development in our Empire Area Blueprint Study Area and in our Waterfront Heritage Zone District, and then to adopt a definition for this type of use that aligns with the building code's definition. So here's the map. This purple-ish blue area would be the area that's in the Empire Blueprint Study Area. And so that's a long new mark, and it extends from Michigan to Cheddar, going over to Empire Boulevard and bounded to the east by South Main Street. The Waterfront Heritage District is this kind of aqua, greeny blue color along Front Street. That's the other area where they're recommending restricting the development. Otherwise, everything else would remain the same. And so ultimately, council has a couple of options. If you felt you wanted to continue this matter to a later date to consider other things, we could do that. If council wanted to just deny the application outright, that's an option. You could also approve it with a couple of avenues. Approve it as presented, the kind of complete restriction citywide. Approve it as Planning Commission recommended, only limiting it in the Empire area in the Waterfront Heritage Zone districts. Or council could revise the approval in a way that you see fit. And if you do that, you just want to make sure you identify what those changes would be. Any approval requires enactment of an ordinance, so whatever council decides, if you decide on an approval, staff would bring back that ordinance at a later date to confirm the changes. And so this is a time where we could have discussion. You could certainly take public comment first if you would like.
Can you just clarify on the slide, I think a couple back?
Yeah.
Of the Empire area?
Yes.
Is the Planning Commission, did you say it's just this blue
Just
area?
this kind of overlaid blue, yeah.
Not the red?
Not the red. No, it's just this kind of block, if you can make that out.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions before we get into the public hearing? Questions from council?
No, I thought we'd take public comment, and then we have time to discuss.
Yeah, we'll discuss it afterwards. Mayor Benetti, did you have any questions before we go into the public hearing?
Not at this time. Thank you, though.
Okay. I do have to read a statement. It is quite lengthy. But it's not as long as the one we had last time. And it is a statement and procedures for a land use public hearing. So, I will now open a public hearing on land use application 187-25-00115-PLNG. Today is February 3rd, 2026, and it is 6:24 p.m. My name is Stephanie Kilmer, and I am a city councilor. The city council will make a final decision on this application based on the complete record, including the testimony received at tonight's public hearing. These proceedings will be recorded. The hearing will be conducted in accordance with the Coos Bay Development Code and state law. For anyone wishing to speak, we are asking you to use the sign-up sheet that has been provided. When called upon to speak, you must state your name and address for the public record. We ask that each speaker limit themselves to no more than 3 minutes. Please remember that all presentations will be timed. You will be informed when your allotted time has expired, and I believe we give a 1-minute warning. All speakers exceeding the time limit will be asked to immediately conclude his or her remarks. To minimize repetitive testimony, organizations are encouraged to have only one person speak for the group, with other members of the organization standing to show this support. Each person may testify only once unless called back to the podium at the request of the city council member to respond to a question. Thank you for your cooperation. Conflicts of interest, ex parte contact, and bias. The City Council is required to disclose any conflicts of interest and ex parte contacts that we have with the proposal or the applicant. That is, whether we have any financial or other personal interest in the proposal, and whether we have spoken with anybody about the proposal outside of this hearing. Do any council members wish to make disclosures, personal or financial? I will disclose that in one of the comments that was received from the public that my name was mentioned as having a conversation with someone that had given testimony at the Planning Commission, and the way it was stated in that is not actually true. She had inquired as to how an individual who showed up at her house unannounced had received her address. And I did explain to her that if she spoke at a hearing or in a public comment period, that that was a matter of public record, and that's what we discussed. All right. Are there any challenges from the audience as to conflicts of interest, ex parte contacts, or bias related to any member of the City Council? All right, required statement. State law requires me to tell you a number of things at the beginning of the hearing. First, the applicable substantive criteria that apply to this application are contained in the notice of public hearing, the written staff report, and will be identified and discussed in the oral staff report. Second, your testimony, arguments, and evidence must be directed toward these criteria or other criteria in the comprehensive plan or development code that you believe apply in to this application. Third, failure to raise an issue accompanied by statements or evidence sufficient to afford the decision maker or other people an opportunity to respond may preclude appeal of a decision on this application based on that issue. City Council will make a final decision. A decision of the City Council may be appealed to the Land Use Board of Appeals, also known as LUBA. Proceedings. We will now hear from staff applicant who will go over the staff report, which you just did. We will now hear from any person in support of the proposal. Each will have 3 minutes. State your name and address for the record. Do we have anyone here to speak in support of the application? Okay, please approach the podium. Okay, please approach the podium and give us your name and where you reside.
If I can just come up and I'll just read off to you my comments, if that would be okay.
Okay.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Tom Ross. Excuse me. I got what Chelsea's got going on, apparently. 763 South Broadway in Coos Bay. I'm here to express my concerns for the application known as the self-storage unit moratorium. I am in favor of the Planning Commission's recommendations, and I'm asking that those revised application be approved. At recent public hearings, the Planning Commission unanimously agreed that changing the zoning would harm development as a whole. They had a consensus that any potential development should be welcome. They also agreed that Coos Bay has way too many blighted properties and that we should not limit property owners their ability to market or develop their sites, and to let the market at large decide that. The 2025 EOA seemed to me heavily weighted on the PCIP. I agree with keeping an eye on the horizon is appropriate, but including projections from an undeveloped entity most likely artificially inflated the actual job growth numbers and understated potential lands. U-Haul has a vested interest in the success of the PCIP. We know that pretty much all available storage units will be tapped out in a matter of a couple of months upon execution of that project. There'll be no place for workers to store their items. This is why U-Haul has recently invested in Coos Bay and is considering additional possibilities. Storage is an essential service that not only creates jobs, it sustains jobs and families. And I would say that it's sustained the city of Coos Bay as a whole over the years. We can take a quick peek back to 2008, where storage allowed families the ability to consolidate their homes that they lost, move in with other family members, and remain in Coos Bay and continue working. Another would have been the pandemic, where storage provided a safe haven for those seeking to temporarily leave to be near other family members, ultimately to return to Coos Bay to our now current post-pandemic new normal. I've been employed with U-Haul for 38 years here in Coos Bay, and my primary duties is to know the storage community. Biannually, I visit every location to get ahead of the spring moving season. My observation is that the market is drastically underserved, not only in Coos Bay, but all of Coos County. I'm confident that all of you understand, in order to facilitate the PCIP, many types of service industries are going to be needed. Storage will be essential for workers, contractors, and many others. Limiting the growth of the storage industry in Coos Bay would likely negatively impact the success of the PCIP project. Again, I ask that the council approve the Planning Commission's revised application. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else who would like to speak in support of the proposal? Support. Okay, now we will hear from any person opposing, in opposition to the proposal. Each, again, will have 3 minutes, and you need to state your name and address for the record when you get to the podium. Anybody opposed? Okay.
When you say the proposal, are we referring to the Planning Commission or of this?
Yeah, this hearing is with regard to a recommendation that was made to the City Council, and we will be, that came from the Planning Commission. And we have 3 options as far as how to proceed following the public comment period.
All right. My name is Vern Hers. I live at 525 South Marple Street in Empire. And I don't need to say any of that. I strongly encourage you to do 3 things. One, to follow the Planning Commission's recommendation for the definition of mini storage. 2, accept the Planning Commission's recommendation for the recommendation to simply prohibit new development of mini storage facilities in the Empire Area Blueprint and the Waterfront Heritage Zone District. And immediately rescind the moratorium on mini storage facilities. To continue, the moratorium would be harmful to the residents of Coos Bay because we do not have enough. Everybody tends to be full, and it's heartbreaking to tell people who need something that, sorry, I can't help you. I'd love to, but can't. If you'd simply asked some people in the storage industry what is reality around here, you could have saved a lot of time and anguish. We want Coos Bay to grow and thrive, and you say you do too. But then you send over $150,000 to an engineering company in Portland for the blueprint, when you could have spent it here with one of our local engineering companies and contributed taxpayer money to the economy of Coos Bay. Thanks.
Is there anyone else? I think that, let's see, Dwayne?
I think it's covered pretty well.
Okay. All right. Anyone else wish to speak in opposition of the proposal? Now we will hear from anyone who is neutral to the proposal. Each will have 3 minutes to approach the podium and make your comment, state your name and address for the record. Anyone neutral? All right. I do want to note that we did receive multiple comments in writing, and those will be included in the record as well. Some of those comments were also stated here tonight as well. I believe there was seven total. Do we have any rebuttal from staff?
None.
And do counselors at this time have any questions for Chelsea? We'll open it up for the council.
Nicole or Chelsea, could you just talk briefly about our procurement process and why that engineer was chosen?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do I need to
Maybe close the public
close the
hearing.
public hearing? Okay, I'm going to close the public hearing. Sorry about that. And then,
Yeah,
go ahead.
thank you. So just to give a general understanding of how the city operates under state statute, so under ORS, the Oregon Revised Statutes, all municipalities are required to go through a public procurement process for many different types of goods and service contractual arrangements. And in this instance, we were required to go out and request proposals from entities who could provide the scope of work that we were looking for. That process is public. Those are put in public newspapers and different ways in which you reach the type of folks who do this work. We, the city, did that and received only one proposal back, which happened to be the one that was selected because that was your choice provided. That's a public process. We do that during a public meeting, and you accept, or you can choose to deny and go back out. Historically, we generally get just proposals from a larger area, not always just local folks. We didn't receive a local proposal in this instance for the Empire Blueprint.
Troy, do you have any questions or comments?
Just related to what we're discussing tonight?
Yes.
Yes, I do. I think, if you don't, most of you know that I am pretty capitalist focused. I think that the market should bear what we do. And I think when we first brought this up, Joe and I had that conversation. I don't think we should be in the business of telling private owners what to do with their property. I am learning, however, though, that we are tasked as leaders to have some sort of overriding vision of what we want our community to look like. And that means that we're tasked with the burden and responsibility of trying to figure out ways to make our community the wonderful place that we all want it to be. So I can see the point of us trying to limit what types of businesses we want in certain areas. So I had some concern with our first plan. Just tonight, it came pretty clear to me. The Planning Commission reviewed it. They took public comments. The Planning Commission's vision or view of this makes perfect sense to me. Those are the areas we were looking for a certain look or a feel or types of businesses. And then that allows individuals who have property, and I think it was talked tonight, if you have property to blight and you want something to do with it, and a new fresh storage unit is your venue, that gives them an opportunity to do that. So for me personally, I'd like the Planning Commission's suggestion, and when we get to that point, I would make a motion to support that.
Council, sorry. Try to get my voice out. I just realized that the map of the Empire area, that planning area, that's not accurate. I want to show you.
Great.
Show you the area. I pulled it from the wrong source, so I apologize. I want to make sure everybody understands the actual area. If Christina will let me share. So it's different.
Okay.
So it actually goes from this. all the way from the Hollering Place east to Norman, I think is the street, and it really follows the properties along.
So
I apologize for that.
It's,
That's significantly different.
Yes.
But I think that's
thought it
also the
looked-
area we had the blueprint for.
This makes more sense.
Yeah, it
yeah,
does.
that makes more sense. Yes. Thank you for clarifying that. It just seemed squished.
Yeah.
Sorry, can you state the, north, west, south, and east boundaries?
So the west would be the waterfront of the bay. So you've got the Hollering Place, the city's boat ramp, the Sauce Brother property. The east would be Norman Avenue. And then for the most part, the north and south would be the properties immediately adjacent, north and south. And it would follow that line along Newmark.
Building reference, Norman is near, the Taco Bell.
And Tri-County
National
Plumbing.
Guard.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Significantly larger.
significantly larger. So it does actually
Take that
take,
area.
it's the
Top
red,
its entrance.
all of this.
Yeah.
Yep. Great.
For clarification too, there are existing storage units in that.
Correct.
Yeah. Thank you.
I appreciate that because that was my concern when I looked at the map. It didn't seem like it took in as much of the area that we had looked at. So I really appreciate you clarifying that. Mr. Mayor, do you have any comments?
Yes, I do. Well, first of all, I want to thank the Planning Commission. And, the reference that everyone's making that this moratorium was going to be put in place forever is just not accurate. And that's what is being referenced in these commentaries and some of the public comment that we have. What has happened is exactly what this council wanted to happen. We did a moratorium with the intent that this would go to the Planning Commission and have public input and would come back with a recommendation to the council. And here we are. That's what's happening. Also, I hear Vern, and I've spoke to Vern immediately after the moratorium, and we talked about this process. And I told him that's exactly what was supposed to happen. And I also talked to others because before the plan came out. I need to clarify that so I didn't have a conflict of interest or needed to disclose something. This was prior to this plan. And I told him what the intent was of the council, and that's what's happened and what has caused this to be this situation. Again, do we want, and we have regulated marijuana dispensaries. We don't have to. We can open it up, but we did, and we chose to do that. Also, some in this room that have testified also were against short-term rentals, being as many as they were. And we decided to take action on it. We put a cap on it because we don't want it to be overbearing. An example of the short-term rentals or any specific business that can be impacted was like Rockaway Beach with the short-term rentals. If you talk to the mayor, which I do on a frequent basis when we have meetings, that is so impacted, that area with short-term rentals, it really hurts the community. They are not able to have other businesses and do other development. So I don't want to see that happen to us. We need to have a diverse development. And I understand what Troy's saying. I understand some of the comments. But again, if this was in such a demand, I got reelected in 2016. There wasn't an application for any kind of storage units until 2023. And again, as I mentioned to Vern, why didn't he go and build one? Or why didn't someone else build one? And I never got an answer. And so now we have one in 2023, and now we have the U-Haul. So I don't think there was really that much of a demand that's being portrayed here, because if it was, then that would have happened already. I think that we should do a balanced development, as I said, and have a diverse commercial businesses, and that's what will make things prosperous. Coos Bay Village was that warehouse by Central Dock was going to be purchased, and it was going to be purchased by, and you can talk to Terry Wood because she came to the city, by a tire burning facility. And the city stepped in and purchased that property because we didn't want that to happen. Now, just think if we would allow that to happen, how that would have been instead of Coos Bay Village. And on 101, what about teakwood development? I think this should be a broader thing than just what's been proposed here. I think 101 should be included. Don't we want to see another teakwood plaza or Coos Bay Village with the few commercial properties that we have left? Do we really want to see a storage unit on 101? There is one at U-Haul, and I think this location's great and it works well. But do we want another one on 101? I don't, and I don't think the majority of the people do. And so I think the Empire Blueprint Plan references this type of development. That's why we are here, and that's why we put the moratorium on that. And we also put a cap on vacation rentals because of that. The state average, I know Vern doesn't think that, and it wasn't the state, it's the national average, is 7 square foot per capita. And we're at more than double that. And as was referenced by Chelsea earlier, there's usually 4 to 7 storage units for a city our size. We have 15. Again, I think that we're lopsided here, and I think what we have is more than adequate. There's other places in our community that can be built, storage units can be built, and I think that we should allow that to happen. And we still have areas that can handle some of the storage units and be built. So I believe that the Planning Commission recommends it's not broad enough. All of 101 should be restricted, as far as I'm concerned, from the development of storage units. I also think that we should extend this down to the Empire area into the Y. How far down, I think, is up for discussion. Also, Sarah brought up the point about Empire Boulevard. Do we really want Empire Boulevard on their way out to Charleston to see some more storage units out there? I think that should also be considered. So those are my comments at this time.
Thank you, and I think that was clarified with the correct map, Mr. Mayor, from Norman to Hollering Place. But it doesn't incorporate the waterfront area down by the boat ramp?
Well, and does it go out to where the sewer plant was, along there?
It doesn't go south down
Right.
Empire.
Okay.
So that's part of my concern. I mean, I think Sarah was talking about that, and I think, this is an area that we have that's on the waterfront and on the Cape Arago or Empire Boulevard going out to Charleston. Do we want that type of development? I just think that we need to be strategic. We are developing, and we got a lot of interest in our community, and I think that we need to keep moving it in the right direction, and that we can have a balanced approach.
Did you have any more comments?
I agree with the mayor. I think that we should extend the exclusion zone.
How did you have any?
I agree with 101. I think it should extend all of Newmark and along the waterfront districts and then out to the city line on Cape Arago.
So I think based on that, with Mayor Benetti and what Councilor Stevens is saying, that we probably should table this and take these suggestions and have them go back and give us a different map that shows those.
If you want a map to consider before you make a decision, we could certainly do that. Or you could bring a map back with the ordinance for adoption.
So I suggest we bring the map back with the ordinance. I think we go ahead and adopt it, bring the map back and the ordinance, and then we can finalize it, which we would have to do anyway. Am I right, Chelsea?
Correct.
And then if the map doesn't meet your expectations or any council expectations at that time, then we can adjust it at that time and have it come back again, or we can ratify it, or do one of those options, I believe.
I'm happy to make a motion to that effect.
Okay. We have a motion to adopt the recommendation. Is that what you're doing?
No,
Could
we're
you
going to bring
state-
back a map, right?
Okay.
Well, we're going to adopt the ordinance, and then
Yes.
the map will attach to the ordinance, Troy, is what I'm suggesting,
Okay.
as Chelsea
So-
suggested, and then we could ratify it at the next council meeting if the map meets our expectation.
So if we're going to go Robert's Rules of Orders, I've made a motion, there's been no second, so that
Second.
fails, right? So we need a new motion.
The only thing I'm not clear on, I would like you to state the entire motion.
Yeah,
Right.
I was going to attempt to maybe help with that.
Or
Unless
we could
you've
just
got
let that one die, and Councilor Stevenson could make
Except
a
Councilor
new
Stevens
motion.
seconded it.
I
You wanna
rescind
rescind
my
it?
second.
Okay.
There we go.
And you're rescinding your motion.
Well, it dies, yeah.
Yeah.
Lack of a second, so we need a new motion.
Okay, I will call for a new motion.
I would like you to give me the language.
I think a motion could include approving the recommendation made by the Planning Commission and increasing the area that would not allow storage units to include all of 101 within the city limits, all of Newmark within the city limits, and extending from the Empire Blueprint area on South Empire Boulevard through the city limits.
So moved.
Second?
Okay,
Discussion?
we have a motion and a second. Any discussion, any clarification?
Yeah, clarification, discussion, whichever. So are we going to, I suggested the Y, are we going to bring in any part of Ocean Boulevard, or are we going to leave it as it is? And it's just asking for clarification, I guess.
Not the way it was stated.
I understand.
I guess I'm referencing this map that does include a piece of, it does actually include a piece of ocean. So
Okay.
I'm looking at the red.
That does not. It's,
That's
it
right at the Y.
basically runs in here, too. Here's the Y. So it's just basically along Newmark.
Do you need to pull up the
Pull up the
blueprint
map,
map again so you can see that area that's identified within the blueprint?
What would be your suggestion, Mayor? Would you like to see that included?
Well, I think Ocean Boulevard is some part. I mean, I don't know if we want to go past where Graham Dodge is and the Three Rivers Casino in that area somewhere. I don't know. But I think some part of the Y should be, Ocean Boulevard should be included in this. So, because if we're going to, our intent is to protect the Empire Blueprint plan and extend that out, I think that part of that needs to be considered for no development of storage units.
My concern is that I think that's an area where it could be developed, and I'm not necessarily in favor. I'm like Troy, don't want to do too much restrictive.
We could go
So
by the
I'm concerned that going up Ocean Boulevard is
we get, how about Harless Marina
concerning to
right
me
there?
because there's some commercial properties up there.
Sure. Harless Marina, that area could be included in this area, or Honda World. I mean, somewhere there. You're not going too far down. You don't have to go that far. And we still leave some availability for development. You got that lot with Graham Dodge and some other properties that could be developed for storage units.
Even Radar. Maybe Radar. 2 Radar Road.
2 Radar Road. Does that work?
Sure, that's fine.
That's where the old Nissan dealership was.
Yeah, I think that's good. And here, I think it's important, and Chelsea, correct me if I'm wrong, that if an applicant for some reason decides that something that we've put into this wants to put a storage unit there, they can come before us and ask for an exception. Am I correct?
I suppose they could. It
Okay.
would be, it would not be the normal way to do it, though, if you
All right.
change your code.
Right. So,
Man, I think we'd be opening up a can of worms there. I mean, if we put a moratorium on it, then depending on who came in and gave us a plan, we let that happen.
I guess my point is that nothing's ever set in stone. And I think sometimes it's always believed that's the case. And if that was the case, everything that we've done will go on for infinity, but that's not reality. So things will change as things develop, I guess. And that's, I guess, the point I want to make. So anyway, I like the Radar Road one.
Is Norman on the other side of, if you're on Ocean Boulevard, is Norman on the other side of Nissan?
Yeah, it's further
Yeah,
up
it's
than Radar.
past Radar.
Yeah.
And then so on that side of where Norman is, you have the Dodge dealership, you have the vacant property there, you have some storage units, and then Norman.
And Norman has the assisted living facility and then the apartments, but that road cuts straight through the Y there.
And that would align with where the Empire blueprint comes up Newmark and stops at Norman.
So we could go right through
See,
the blueprint.
I don't have a problem with that
I don't
area.
either.
All right.
I'd rather it be closer to Newmark as opposed to going up that far. Because we have vacant properties there that are commercial.
Are you saying not as far as Norman?
Yes.
So you're interested in stopping it at Wallace?
Wallace, that's the street I was.
That's
fine with
right
that.
by the, well, it used to be the grocers. Cuts between the Dodge and the Honda dealership.
But we're talking about on Ocean, not on
That's
Newmark, right?
yeah, tribal land right there. I believe.
I mean, there's not any.
And you know, I don't think we're going to see big boxes either. I think the owners of mini storage units are creative in how they're developing that so that they fit in to, I mean, some of those storage units that we have are much older in the Empire area. And we have a new development at the south end of town that looks very different than, and I think that, you know, we have different ways of looking at things today that we didn't 30 years ago.
I'm in favor of moving it to Norman.
I
Ocean,
am too. Sounds good.
but you're saying you think that's too far.
Norman is already encompassed in the blueprint, correct?
Norman is in the blueprint.
Yeah.
On the Newmark side.
Well, to your point, Mary, and you've said this before, is that, you know, this is a fluid thing and things can be changed again, and the intent is a moratorium. I could support the Norman.
So it sounds like we have
To modify the motion. I mean, so you might have to kill the one that exists and start again.
So we have
Okay.
to vote for it and then have to fail.
Yeah, that'd be the cleanest way, I think.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor and a second, and I will call for the questions. All those in favor, say aye. All opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay?
Motion carries. Nay.
Fails.
Fails,
fails.
I mean, motion fails, sorry. So used to saying it the other way. All right, do we have a new motion?
You want to try this time, Trey?
I'll try it. So, tell me the map part. I'm confused on the map part. I'm making a motion to support the ordinance with a return of a map, and then I'm going to include the areas we've discussed.
So we don't have an ordinance yet. We will develop that. So I think you're approving the recommendation made by the Planning Commission. Include those other areas with the staff bringing back an ordinance and a map to identify these excluded areas at a future date.
Okay. So I am going to make a motion to accept the Planning Commission's recommendation with an extension in the Empire Blueprint area to Norman Street, and in the Coos Bay downtown heritage area through leave that out. Waterfront.
So I
All right, I'll go
apologize
back.
for this, but
Nope.
the
Because we want to cover 101, right?
yeah, so the Planning Commission already includes the Empire Blueprint
Okay,
and the waterfront.
okay.
So we're looking at
So
an
my motion is to accept the Planning Commission's recommendation with an extension of the Empire Blueprint to Norman and covering 101 from the waterfront through the city border.
And I believe I want to add some clarity here. When you speak to the inclusion on Norman, the blueprint is doing that on Newmark. You're talking about on Ocean.
As it encompasses both Newmark and Ocean, to encompass that triangle there.
And then you're also going to want to identify the extension from the blueprint south on South Empire Boulevard to city limits.
Okay, as well as an extension from the the blueprint area south on Empire Boulevard to the city limits.
And I think Sarah said all of Newmark. Is that in that motion?
Correct.
So you have Newmark going to how?
City limits is what I think Sarah said, but it's not always clear when I'm virtual or online, so.
That is correct. So what I'm,
From there all the way up past Walmart, McDonald's, and down the hill to 101?
Well, McDonald,
No.
that's North
That's
Bend.
Which would be
That's right.
about the college.
So, okay.
yeah.
And to include Newmark to the city limit. Can we cobble that together?
Okay.
With
So the motion
a map to
includes
demonstrate that.
Highway 101 area, from the waterfront heritage to the city limits. It includes Newmark area from the city limit to the waterfront and down Cape Arago or Empire Boulevard to the city limit.
And Ocean Boulevard.
And Ocean,
to
and the
Norman.
triangle area of Ocean Boulevard from Norman to Newmark.
And then I hate to ask for clarity, but there was discussion, at least on 101 within city limits, not just waterfront to city limits.
Correct.
We want 101
Yes.
city limits.
Correct. Second.
Okay.
Wow.
We have a,
Yes.
okay,
And-
the motion is to approve the Planning Commission's recommendation with the map to come back to council. And it includes those areas that we have discussed, which is Highway 101 from the city limits all the way to the waterfront heritage, through the waterfront heritage district. It includes Newmark from the city limit, the border of North Bend city limit, to the waterfront, and Empire Boulevard, which is also known as Cape Arago Highway, from Hollering Place to the city limit, and the triangular piece on Ocean Boulevard from Norman to Newmark. All right, that was clear as mud.
We got a motion?
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? The motion carries. All right. Our next item on the agenda is a public hearing. Oh, wait. We didn't do the ordinance, right? So we're not doing an ordinance. Scared me for a second. All right. Public hearing to consider enactment of an ordinance repealing and replacing the adoption of Oregon Fire Code within the Coos Bay Municipal Code, Chapter 15. And Chief, you have this one.
Good evening. So the Oregon Fire Code is adopted every 3 years based off the International Fire Code. The Coos Bay Municipal Code was last updated to reflect the adoption of the Oregon Fire Code in 2007. So we are 6 cycles behind for the current version of the Oregon Fire Code. Plus, since that time, there's been numerous updates to the fire code, so our current adoption reflects outdated information that has been problematic at times, trying to enforce and stay within those parameters of that. So we are asking to completely repeal the existing municipal code for Title 15.35 and then adopt the 2025 Oregon Fire Code as presented with no modifications other than one adoption of a creation of a division within our fire department, which is something we are actually already doing with the fire code inspection program. It just outlines the authority that comes from the state through the State Fire Marshal's office to the fire chief to administer. So just for clarification and ease of maintenance. So we're just asking you to, again, repeal existing and replace with what was presented.
Did council have an opportunity to review the materials? Then I will entertain a motion.
We have a public hearing.
Oh, I'm sorry. I will open the public hearing. Sorry about that. Anyone wish to speak in favor of or against enacting an ordinance for the Oregon Fire Code within Coos Bay Municipal Code, Chapter 15? And sensing none, I will close the public hearing and I will entertain a motion.
I move to enact the ordinance repealing and replacing the adoption of Oregon Fire Code within Coos Bay Municipal Code, Chapter 15.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to enact an ordinance, and we will do a roll call.
An ordinance repealing and replacing Chapter 15.35 Oregon Fire Code of the Coos Bay Municipal Code. Councilor Cribbins?
Aye.
Mayor Benetti?
Aye.
Councilor Kilmer?
Aye.
Councilor Stevens?
Aye.
Ordinance number 594 has been duly enacted.
Thank you, everyone. And our next agenda item is the city manager's report.
Thank you. Just a couple of items. One, to get on your guys' calendar for our upcoming fiscal year 27 budget process. We will be holding, we're planning to hold 2 meetings. The first one on April 30th. That's a Thursday. And then the second one on the following Thursday, which is May 7th. We are still working diligently to put in place the Moderate Income Revolving Loan Program, which requires consensus from Coos County, as they are by state statute the county administrator of that, due to the correlation with the property tax program. As such, I will attend another meeting at the county tomorrow morning, which hopefully they will be, they're presented with the IGA to sign to partner with the state in the administration of that program. So this council had already adopted the program here, and through the process it requires county interaction with the state, and we're finally getting to that stage. So we'll be doing that hopefully tomorrow. I just wanted to also share, I attended a workshop Monday out at the Oregon Institute of Marine Biology in relation to flooding in our estuary, but also Coos Bay, as we are, a large area that is mostly recognized for flooding because we are the ones who experience it on our roadways. So some good learnings out there, continued efforts just to kind of communicate what opportunities we might have in this area to reduce that flooding. Challenging, given we are in an area which experiences high tide, king tide flooding, and severe rain can impact that. So just a great opportunity to meet with folks both from Oregon State University and consultants in Louisiana State University as they kind of approach ways to mitigate that. So that's what I have today. Still working on the communications method for you guys on a regular basis with the videos. So stay tuned.
All right, we'll move on to council comments. Sarah, would you like to start?
Yeah, 2 things. I had the pleasure of going to a 4th grade class at Sunset last week and teaching them a little bit of Japanese and sharing some travels to our sister city, Choshi, and they made some fans. They're going to be displayed at the Coos Art Museum for a period of time, and then we'll send those over to our sister city. It was awesome. Really enjoyed it. Thank you, Councilor Niebergall, for organizing that. And then secondly, want to request that we explore an option, since moratorium seemed to be the theme of the night, a moratorium on detention facilities within the city of Coos Bay. So, thank you. Sorry, one more thing from Councilor Niebergall, who says, come by to see the fans at the Coos Art Museum, opening ceremony on Friday from 5 to 7 at the Student Biennial, which coincides with the wine walk.
That's awesome. Thank you for doing that. I think that's wonderful, and we can share our experiences with young people. Got them excited about it, I'm sure. Councilor Cribbins?
Yeah. Sorry, I was looking up some stuff. Can't find it, so I'll wing it. I had the opportunity to attend the Coos Bay Downtown Association's annual meeting, which was attended by, our local downtown core business owners. It's a bright and energetic group working towards beautification and growth of our downtown business core area. They're struggling, though, and I think part of that is what we were talking about tonight. We've all got a future. We're hoping that there are some bigger economic development things coming to our community. I don't think we can put all our eggs in one basket, hoping that, but we do need to start having a vision and planning to move forward. I think that our downtown community needs some help with overcome some taxes and regulations that make it difficult for businesses to operate. It makes it difficult. Our state is losing businesses greater than they're coming in because of the burdens. And I think it's hurting our general funds for our municipalities that use those funds to help with infrastructure and public safety and all of the things that we depend on. But we can't have those things without a thriving business community. And so we need to see some more economic development. And I think that will bring in more foot traffic and should help strengthen and help our existing businesses grow and have support. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, a few things. For a question for Nicole and staff, where are we at on the transfer of the Coos Art Museum property and collection?
So we are actually, Nate's working with attorney representing the art museum to put together some language. And then we are also, staff is putting together some historical operational costs for the art museum board so they know what they might be undertaking. That will be a piece of the negotiations, potentially kind of staging that over a period of time, much like we did with the Egyptian Theater Association, maybe taking a span of 5 years to help them step into what those operational costs are for them to undertake. So in progress.
So in the near future, I hope?
That's the goal. They are working on that language right now. So.
Okay. And I just want to kind of reiterate what Councilor Cribbins has said about the Downtown Association, and I know the downtown core area. It doesn't just be, it's not just specific to the Downtown Association, that we need to find a way to bolster them and try to help, whatever that may be. And so I think something needs to be put on the agenda. We've talked about maybe closing parts of the block before, doing some kind of situation that would be more inviting. I know there's been different discussions. I know that if we can create the environment sort of like when we have the farmers market, you see cars stop, and because there's an attraction to come there. So we need to try to find a way to do that if we can, and hopefully we can. I know that this council and staff has the ability to do such a thing. So I look forward to participating with that. I want to thank Valentine's Day is coming up on February 14th. Being a restaurateur, it's one of the busier days, so I want to encourage everyone to go out to the restaurant of their choosing and their favorite restaurant and enjoy the day. And Stephanie, thank you for stepping in again and helping.
No problem, my pleasure. And I'll just wrap up the comments. I actually was going to talk about the Downtown Association, how much I appreciate staff and the council for attending that. I act as the liaison, but I am also on that board. and they elected a full board at their annual meeting, and then had the pleasure of attending their next meeting, which was Monday, and there were some concerns that were stated, and I think they kind of left it as an open forum, and I think Councilor Cribbins is right. They're struggling, but I also see a lot of hope that comes from those businesses, and just this, we're going to push through it, and there are some things. I know that Nicole had some takeaways from there, some concerns about buildings that have been mentioned in this council before, being rent ready or ready for businesses to either acquire or open their businesses in them, and so there is a lot of hope for downtown Coos Bay, and some new vision for moving forward into the future. And I see Harv on the line. I appreciate him attending these meetings. Harv is the director of the Downtown Association, and so I appreciate that he comes here to the council meeting and is able to take back reports to the Downtown Association board. This Friday is the wine walk, as Councilor Stevens mentioned, and that's a good opportunity to actually go in and check out some of those merchants. So I would encourage folks who are 21 and older to participate in that. It's been on hiatus since November through the holidays, and so come on down and check out, get out there and walk downtown Coos Bay, and then share what you see and what you hear with us as counselors and what we can do and help staff. And I know that and appreciate all that our staff do, but we need to hear from folks and we need to hear from businesses, and that's through the Downtown Association. Take advantage of those programs that are available for buildings, and we'll be the vibrant downtown that we have always experienced in the past and into the future. So I appreciate everyone that came tonight to give comment, and I apologize that was kind of a difficult thing, but that's how we get through it. We talk it out, and we get to the end here. So with that, there is an executive session immediately following this meeting.
May I? Sorry.
Oh,
I
sure.
forgot. May I have one more thing?
You have one more thing? Sure.
Yeah, I apologize. It's where I sort of paused and forgot. But I was going to indicate that, and part of how we help, our community is I will be in Salem Monday to give public testimony on House Bill 1566, which will allow a reduction of the prevailing wage with some public projects related to housing. And those things like that, we can help our legislators in Salem make it easier for us to help develop our community. So thank you. Now,
Thank you for doing that. All right, so we will go.
Do I need is there another link for the executive session, or I just stay on? Or
Just stay on this connection.
Okay.
We'll just take a little bit of a pause. We are going to go into an executive session, so Christine will read the statement, and we will excuse members who are not allowed, I guess, for lack of a better term, in an executive session. And it does not appear that we will be returning to a public meeting after that. So I will go ahead and adjourn to the executive session.
City Council will now meet in executive session pursuant to ORS 192.660(2)E for the purpose of discussing real property transactions. If the council intends to come out of executive session to take final action, the presiding officer should announce when the open session will begin again. Representatives of the news media and designated staff shall be allowed to attend the executive session. All other members of the audience are asked to leave the room. Representatives of the news media are specifically directed not to report on any of the deliberations during the executive session, except to state the general subject of the session as previously announced. No decisions may be made in executive session.